Welcome, weary wanderer. It is I, back for another episode of Rate the Base. Except today there will be no rating of bases, although feel free to rate this one in the comments section. Instead, no, we will be doing tips and tricks for how to become a master builder in this game. As you can see in front of you is my base, and it does appear that the roof is actually grabbing the water between the pincers. And I can tell you right now, that idea did not come to me at first. In fact, it came to me a lot later after messing around with a whole bunch of different failed plans, which is the main thing I want to get across to you today when it comes to your building adventures. By the way, the weather is actually raining. It's absolutely pouring down, and I was in camera mode standing on this to get a nice thumbnail. What I'm going to do today is hopefully kickstart your own journey by talking in great detail about certain aspects of the building process and how it all works. But I want you to know that straight off the bat, the most important thing is that you don't have to be some kind of master envisioner about how your building is going to shape up. All you have to do is have an idea. Even if you don't have an idea, you simply need to grab 4 square blocks and build from there. And once you've done that, you can then expand it. So each of these marble foundations, you can quite literally just get 4 of these and create a square, then a rectangle, then round the edges off if you like, and then just keep expanding and expanding and expanding and see what happens. Now, it's very frustrating for someone who doesn't know how to build to hear the words "see what happens," but don't worry. I will show you everything I've done, including my mistakes as well, and some of which were absolutely horrendous. As you can see here, on this side, we have an absolutely stunning waterfall. The other side, we've got this beautiful brick. The heck is this, Matt? We don't need that. We've already got the thumbnail. As I was saying, we've got this beautiful bridge view. Were these my ideas? No, I came across other people who had bridge views and waterfall views, and if you saw the last video, by this sewer system of Atlantis, what am I looking at here? So while our last video had someone building their base on top of the waterfall, I thought that was too crazy and too loud. I built mine at the bottom of the waterfall with the bridge on the other side that I really liked. And my simplistic whole idea for this base was make sure to maximize the view. Before you build a single block, you should know that what you build on and around is very important. So if you're building on top of rocks, trees, anything like that, they may grow back. Something else that's important is if there are creatures around, I will show you a little bit about that later as well. They can really affect your building process and your sanity. But yeah, so the next thing is ask yourself, do you care more about function or theme? So as you can see, I care most about location, but after that, once I come through my front door, functionality still very, very important. No matter what I do, I need to know that my disassembly machine and my benches are nearby. So that's exactly what I've done. I created a wide open space, but then I have added things which are most important. Where are my crates, you might be wondering? This is where my function and theme have had to take a slight dip, and that is because I didn't like the untidiness of the crates. They were initially here where the fish tanks are, but I picked up some awesome iron cages, and here they are here, and I think that looks fantastic. Now, the other reason I've stuck them down here, take a look at these cages. They look horrendous. They actually look like they've been left outside in the rain for like 5 years, and that's just no good. I wanted them upstairs, but instead, because this is a basement, I have used these cementy brick kind of thing. They look horrible. They look like the changing rooms I used to get when I was a boy for PE, and yeah, like they look like a torture room, to be honest. One of the reasons I've chosen today's base to make this video is that what I've built from an external structure is really achievable, and I know there'll be people saying, hey man, I did not buy the glass pack, what do you expect me to do? Well, what I expect you to do is, first of all, shut your hole, and secondly, use other pieces like the wooden square frame or the stone square frame, and just, you know, have it as a kind of a well-ventilated building. You got to use what you've got available to you, and it doesn't have to be glass. I mean, to be honest with you, if it weren't for the lights around here, you wouldn't see the glass anyway. It just, you would think you can walk right through it. Many a time I've thought Concussion City would be upon me because I keep walking into glass. So yeah, wood is actually good. And do you know what else looks good? Concrete. My last base that I made a video on when I was talking about it was like the dumbest base I've ever seen. I think these look amazing. It's because they're not actually concrete. I mean, they are in the middle, but on the outside they're clearly cladded. Some kind of dark oak or dark, I don't know, ebony, or I'm not sure what it is, but it's dark and wood. It looks amazing. And I built most of my last base using that, and I think that, you can too, and it will look completely fine. Something else that is worth bearing in mind, I'm going to say something that's probably going to get me a little bit of backlash and hate, but I'm just going to talk about it from my own subjective experience. When I walk around a guy's base, it usually is a castle or some kind of empty warehouse. When I walk around a girl's base, it's usually more like a home, and they just absolutely jam-pack things. I know everyone's different and everyone will have their own way of doing it, but this is just my generalization. And I can't say that I fall into the stereotype of trying to make big, open, wide spaces. However, I'm also a fan of making design is much a part of what I do, so I'm not that interested in open spaces if they don't serve a purpose. I'm going to take you now down to my favorite area. Oh, we are thirsty. Now to my area where my build actually started. So I did the same thing as I talk about. I started with 4 squares, except this entire idea of building around the waterfall and the bridge actually started with, I want a pool in my basement. So instead of building 4 squares, well, I did build the 4 squares, I then essentially I built this entire floor, and then I started chopping away at it, and I would do like 4 squares in the middle, then another 2, then another 2, and then I used these, which are the stone crescent ceilings, to make that circular effect. And these parapets are probably just wood. Yeah, they're wooden curved parapets that, again, they would look fine if you don't have the glass, not a problem. Something else that I think looks great is these like iron or the concrete curved parapets. I think these look okay. They look fine as well. Obviously it's not the same, but you work with what you've got. And a lot of the things I've put in my base are to do with the materials I've found round and about. And I think it's well worth going on material runs, and I will show you where those are as well, where I picked up most of the things I've got today. When it comes to the design of this room, it actually just grew arms and legs as I went. And there's more of that concrete, by the way, over there. So when I thought about a pool, I thought, okay, I need the pool to have a decent floor. So that floor right there, I've put like wallpaper or the floor tiling or whatever it is on it, and then I've put a wall on the inside where I could, so that allowed me to get that light in there, wall-mounted light, and put one on the other side as well. Not every wall could be built inside the marble foundations. I don't know why, I just couldn't. Obviously we've got steps there. The steps didn't work as I wanted them to, so I ended up having to use like low reinforced steel wood narrow steps. As you can see, there's actually a few of them, 1, 2, 3 there. Why? Because I could not get the other ones to snap in. They just wouldn't do it. So the pool has just been built up with concrete walls, and again, they're just rectangles, isn't it? It's just a big rectangle here, and it's like, well, what do you want to do when you've got your pool and you go whee, and you're swimming around? Once you've been swimming or before you've been swimming, you need a changing room. So I've brought myself a changing room here, and that's just quite literally using these concrete walls, and I got the curtains. And you don't need the curtains, you could just have it as like a door or anything you want, and in you go. We need a toilet in here, man. It's such an essential part. Why are toilets not a part of the base design? I'm trying to talk you through every aspect of what's going on through my head while I was building this. I knew that if I had a pool down here, it would be dark. Therefore, I didn't want it to be like super light, because at the end of the day, this is a downstairs pool. And if it's a downstairs pool, you overlight this place, it's just going to be way too much. Also, light reflects off water. So that was one thing. Create an ambience. So I've actually dotted the lighting around to be a little bit more sparse and surreptitious. You may or may not like it. I really don't care. I do like it. So the next thing I did was I sat and thought, what happens when you've got a pool? Well, the air's going to suck. It's going to get all warm and moist, and you're not going to like that. So what do you need? These fans, do they serve any practical purpose? No, they don't. They don't do a thing. However, it makes it look like they do a thing. We've got air conditioning units here as well. So at least you feel like the fumes are being dealt with. It's the silly little things like you find yourself an industrial cabinet and put it next to the changing room. Why? Because it looks like towels could go on there. So these are little considerations, little bench maybe to sit on once you get out the pool. Come over here, go to the cafe, have your whatever you want, the cakes, have a menu. These menus you can pick up as materials as you're going around doing your farming. doing. Crates, they could be for change of clothes, it could be pool toys, whatever you're after. A little area to chill out here. We've got the bar, so I'm trying to expand upon a simple idea, which is just the pool. Obviously, we've got the sofa here. I wanted to imagine that this was like a PVC kind of couch and not like a fabric one. Why? Because fabric would probably get damaged and all moist and absorb all the water. These are little things that go through my head as I was building. And, same kind of deal here. I would imagine that this is obviously these are designed to be outdoor, the bench and the seat, but it doesn't matter because downstairs we're thinking of the same kind of thing. We want it to be friendly to the water that we've got. Also, like having mats as you come in and out, a little bit of hygiene care. It all starts to build a picture of immersion. So speaking of immersion, this is one of my rules. I think I've said it in videos before, and that is that anywhere you go in your base, you should not have to jump or, there should be no unreasonable entry point to anywhere you want to go. And that includes pretty much anything that requires an interaction. The only exception I would say is generators. So when I come to my garage, oh, by the way, this is horrendous. This is just taken over. It wasn't this bad before, but there's some kind of landslide happening. Yeah, so when your garage, you got your vehicles, you want to be able to drive in and out. It doesn't matter that you don't summon your vehicle here. It's how it looks. So I think that's something worth pointing out. I have also created a slight kind of matching theme with my garage to my main property. This was deliberate. We've obviously got the split roof design here. It's very steep angled, and then it comes straight back down vertically. I tried to do the same sort of thing with the garage so you can say that this is still my base, still related. Obviously no one's here, so it's my base. But it's worth pointing out that having a well-lit base will really help it in all, times of day and weather, but angles are much harder to light. So if I put this angle up here and then try and put another angle there, I'm not going to be able to create a light in the corner, which is why this one's worked out so much better in that I've given myself a ceiling and then a straight drop. So yeah, wander around your entire base and see if there's anywhere you can't get to by stepping in. If you need to make stairs or you need to adjust the foundations, I think that's absolutely worth doing. Okay, so while I'm here, I may as well just talk to you about cable management. Cable management is something that people they push back at me quite a lot about this and say, hey man, you're not supposed to do it. Just turn it off and then forget about it. And I'm in agreement if it gets in the way of your design. However, if you incorporate it in early, then you can actually make this work. So what I've done is quite simple. Just stick your generator next to a machine if it's, going to cause any issues. So I've got some generators over there, and I'll just show you how I worked my cable management on this. And what I've done is I've just, quite easy, ground terminal there, goes right through the wall, ground terminals here, and then into the furnaces. Can I access the furnaces? I absolutely can. You can get to them right here. Again, no jumping or anything like that. These furnaces actually used to be in the basement in the brick walls where the crates now are, but that is a little bit of sacrifice I've had to accept. Here's my kitchen, by the way, where I've had to do some more cable management, and now you'll understand the build idea of my base. So we've got the fridge here. You just have to live with this because I couldn't get it flush against the wall. No matter what you do with the fridge, if you try and go further back, it will only allow so far, and you just have to deal with it. There is my cooker. Everything is connected, but what I've done is I've got the terminals here and one round the back on the other side of this wall. And that's what this L shape has become at this corner of the building. It actually goes right up and through and into the roof here. Now, I don't need access to this deviation energy generator. I suppose if I was being really, really picky, I'd stick a door here. But, I've decided not to do that for the moment. But the other corners of the building, they all have this sort of L shape to them, are actually taken up with stairwells. So I'll show you that here. That is where the crates were before. You can see that's the L shape here, and that was meant to be the case across the entire building. I realized I didn't need them, so that is what I've done instead, is opted for cable management by funneling the cables outside. I think it's a really, really easy and cool way to fix it, and it's done in the early stages of your building. You allow for extra wall. I guess you could just call them false walls, but they also work as lovely overhanging areas for your view as well, because we've got the lights that are coming down that just look great in the dark. A little tip here for building, and it's something you're going to come across with quite often, is you get the dreaded red block of doom, which is when everything should fit in. You get your block, it's blue. You get another block, it's blue. You get everything fine, blue, 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 and then this one here might go red. And when that happens, don't worry, because if it looks like it should fit, there could be a few reasons why it is not happening. One is the most simplistic thing. Check that there are no overlaps. Overlaps are things like, you got the vines, they might be getting in the way. There might be a light on the other side of the wall. There could be a column getting in the way. But if it does look like it should fit, the answer is quite simply to take a piece off and then rebuild. And you'll find that that is the easiest way to get it done. And if that doesn't work, then build it another way, like take that piece off and then go up and around and essentially just keep rejigging it. They have made it better. It's not as bad as it used to be awful. But now, it still does happen to me on occasion. And sometimes it won't work at all due to not having enough support. So you can maybe add columns instead. Other times it's quite literally the foundation. It just won't let you do it for whatever reason, uneven ground or just bad code. When you're building the main floor area or ceiling or whatever it is you want to do, if you've got in mind a grain, so it's going to be this, which is deep red painted wood planks. It's a lot easier to figure out the direction of your flooring before you start painting all these on, or you can paint them as you go. If you're using a wood ceiling, you can see the direction that that's going to go before you put your print on it. That's absolutely fine. However, if you're using other materials such as stone ceilings, a lot less easy to figure out. But you look at enough of these, you will know which way to go. If you put an entire floor down, then start putting all the beams and everything, and then you try to rotate it and it says it will damage the structure, then it's a big trouble for you. So I would say get on that early, and that will make your life easier. And I want to talk about a very minor, but it's actually a hugely impactful issue, and that is trying to get perfection to be a part of your base. Having asymmetrical elements will stop this thing from looking procedurally generated. What I mean by that is a beer bottle this side, a beer bottle not quite that side, a chair 100% straight, a chair facing out the way. These make it look as if it's been lived in. If you don't do this, your base is going to look completely hollow and soulless. The more touches you add of slightly imperfectly placed elements, then the better it'll be. Obviously, you can go crazy and it'll end up looking higgledy-piggledy, but I think that's just something that people tend to forget about and don't do enough of. Let me take you upstairs, by the way. I've not actually shown you my bedroom yet. Here is the walkway towards my bedroom, and I've used these diamond tiles, and I opted to light them extremely well just to make it look a lot fancier. So this walkway here, right underneath me, is the deviants, where you can, go and tell Digby's they're not working hard enough, and then instead of going to bed, just hug the cat. There you go. The ambience here is deliberate in that I didn't want it to be crazy well lit. I did want some kind of table light, and still obviously keeping a view available. But yeah, here's more asymmetry for you, just keeping the boxes not quite right. The chair, I was at my PC, turned it slightly and then moved out. These are just tiny details, but really important. You may notice as well that I wanted a different theme for each of my floors in terms of the decorating. So you can see I've actually opted for some nice granny wallpaper up here, and that actually extends all the way where through to the piano, the pictures of my granny, and you will see a stark divide between that and lower floors. In terms of overall floor design, all I've done with my rectangles is create occasional rounded elements. So you see here stone fan ceiling, and then you will see wooden right fan wall, and that is just to let you know that I'm not interested in only squares and rectangles. So these little curved parapet areas and they serve no purpose other than just breaking up the monotony. Same for the fish tanks, just breaking up, giving it its own dedicated space with a small concrete left sloping wall. When you get into the kitchen here, you'll notice that I don't have a chimney as such, but I've opened up the wall there, so it gives you an illusion of, fumes going up the way. What have we got there? That red brick wall. Why is it there? It's a backsplash. Again, these are things that you have on your own. When you've got your hobs in your kitchen, you'll see these splash plates and induction fans and all that sort of thing, but because we don't have any of that, the red brick wall serves as the illusion for that. When you create your base, it's a good idea to start in the middle. Now if I teleport to my base, Teleporting back to the middle of my base takes me into the water, and that's not great. However, I'm just going to say a couple things about this. One, obviously, I'm a moron, but two, if you create your base in the center of your territory every single time, there are going to be moments where you try and move your territory somewhere else, and you'll find that your base doesn't fit the way you wanted it to. The house doesn't land where you would like it to. So where my base is right now, I can move it, and this is the edge of my territory. I can get closer to roads or places that I otherwise wouldn't get to by having my base built like this. However, that would be dumb luck because I just straight up made a mistake. And the reason I made that mistake is because I moved my base from somewhere else, and all my belongings were in the middle here, and I wanted to keep them until I moved into my property. Just a rookie error, really. My core principles of base design lies in the principle of synthesizing, inspiration, and imitation. Imitation is obviously copying what other people do. Inspiration is seeing what they're doing and then applying it to your own style. And getting this kind of merger between the two, I think, is really important so that you can become the best builder that you can be. Once you've got the basics down and you've got your designs that just grow arms and legs, what you want to do then is start adding pieces as much as you dare. And I think that this is the most important word here, dare. You have to dare to add as many pieces as you possibly can without ruining your vision. So you want to get as close as you can to, placing down all these decors, accessories, and keep your design intact, and it will just keep adding to the reality that you're creating in front of you. But of course, it will also be limited by the materials that you get. So I will just show you where I've been picking mine up. Okay, so here we are. This is in the Red Sands. This is east of Blackfell, and this is such a good place to pick up materials. And there are 3 buildings, really. There's an entire loot run you can do if you're looking for mods as well, but for the purposes of building, you just go around this green building. There are cabinets literally everywhere. Cabinets provide you with the best source of formulas. After you've pretty much raided everything in there, you come outside, there's a couple of cabinets in there. Something else that's pretty good is going through the trash. They always, can stand a good chance of yielding decent materials. Across the road is this red building here. More cabinets so you can fill your boots. Again, that red building is just right here with the coordinates 4431 1343. Do not disturb that crate. It's going to be a mimic. So go through all those and you'll get cabinets and everything in there. Finally, we have a motel here, and that is another very rich source of formulas. Literally just go in every single room, and don't forget that jumping is apparently too difficult. Don't forget that the trash cans, they're on both sides as well. Go in every single room, clear out all the cabinets in there. There's also more bits and pieces in there. And that's how I get my materials. You can do this pretty much every 4 hours, so it's worth just going at it again and again multiple times a day until you have everything you're after. Welcome to my second base. I wanted to show you something that happened on my other character. This was built in the first week of the server being live, and I made some horrendous mistakes that I would love to share with you. Now, I've actually moved it to another cliffside, but what's important... I wanted to show you at night because it doesn't look as good during the day. Essentially, on a similar cliffside, I was building more around here, and I kept getting attacked by boars, and it was really annoying. So all I did was I shifted it along to the edge of the cliff, and I thought, it's okay, I'll make it work. And what ended up happening was I built out the way, and the more I built out, the worse things got, and the more it started to look like a budget kind of street kid Harry Potter. So but I ended up just making it into a fun troll base. But what I really, really hate about this base is that it is just slightly off-center, and off-center might not mean much to you until you start to take a look at the foundations and the poles, the posts that go up the way. So as the posts go up and up and up, they don't actually meet this building here, which is left kind of awkwardly freestanding. Because if I was to take one of these little columns and go, I'm going to build this up and up, you're like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And on the other side, it looks even worse. So you've got one of the most annoying kind of support systems ever created, and what I opted to do instead was just not have any. So that's why it looks the way that it does. It's still kind of fun, but to fix this problem, if you do decide, I know, I'm going to make a cliff base, and cliff bases aren't for beginners, by the way, they're a little bit more complicated, so build something else first. But if you are going to do it, start at the bottom, right down at the bottom, then build up the way, and then build your actual house afterwards. But because I did it the other way around, which was to just move my rectangles, because that's all it was at the time, it was like 6 or 8 blocks, I just kept moving them along and along, and then just built down from there. Complete disaster. But this was my idea. I hope I've shown this on stream before. I think it's pretty fun. You walk in, you see the arrow, go, ooh, what's this? You see a sign, trust fall. It's because I created a mundo. You go, oh, thumbs up, it'll be fine. And then you go, it's not fine. You break both your ankles and you end up in some kind of rehab for several months. And where's my garage? Don't worry, I have another trust fall. But this one, you actually can't. Oh, no, you can't. There you go, no more brakes. And you can see my multicolored bike here, which is, someone on stream showed me this. I can't remember who it was, but I just expanded the size of the decals. No, not decals, decals! And yeah, now it looks like you have an entirely covered bike with the skin, so now you don't need to waste $300 on that piece of trash Ghost Rider thing. To get back up, I have steps. I keep following my own rules, which is stairs all the way up, and they drop you down. But essentially, my little tower that I've created is tiny. There's nothing in here except the deviants, my mangy old crime scene bed, a church tower that serves no purpose whatsoever, and then just stairwell after stairwell after stairwell. And yes, the walls are pink deliberately. Functionality is straight after your trust fall. So yeah, I just thought I would show it to you so you can see that people who do build nice structures also make horrendous mistakes and end up doing what is called dealing with it. Wait, what's that? Yeah, just live with it sometimes, guys, if you just can't be bothered, especially if your server is going into another phase. By the way, I didn't show you this earlier, but I think this is just generally a good idea to reinforce your stairs. I saw this with the Boston Dynamics guy. I've seen it with other builds as well, where you basically create posts and walls so that you don't just have a hollow stairwell. I like the idea of reinforcing it on the sides. As you can see, though, it looks complete trash because I haven't done it correctly. And yeah, I mean, I'm just totally done with this base. It is getting demolished, but I want you to see just how things can, just grow arms and legs and not be exactly as you want it to be. And yes, I do ride my bike down that stairwell. But I want to also say, guys, building is an entirely subjective experience. You like what you like. Don't let anyone tell you what you're allowed to like. There's just rules in terms of making things easier, and immersion or not immersion. Press B and L if you're not interested in cable management. It really doesn't matter. What matters is that you be the best you can be and have as much fun as possible, and don't let it, ruin your experience. One final thing I must say, just in case you've been sat wondering about it, is these terminals are the secret to making bigger bases. You have to go up to them and press H, I think it is, to expand your territory. I like to leave these under stairwells out of the... What the heck? Are you kidding me? I didn't even make a wall here. I'm gonna fix that right now. Thank you for your kind attention. If you didn't make it to the end of the video, you are a legend. Join the Discord, and yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.